Good afternoon. It's a beautiful Southwest afternoon, isn't it? Southwest Florida. This is how many of you were born here? Yeah, me either. Me either. Very few people in Southwest Florida were born here, and most of us chose to be here, a personal choice. I chose to move here about 11 years ago. I was up in New England at the time. I'm originally from Southern California, but I was up in New England at the time. I'd started my own business. Things were going really well. The economy was awesome. I mean, real estate was at its peak down here. I bought high. How many of you bought high? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So I bought high, and 6 months later, Hurricane Charlie wiped me completely out. He took my house, took my boat, took all my contents of my house. So that was the choice at that point. Do I give up and move somewhere else a little bit safer? Or do I want to stick it out? Do I want to really do the Southwest Florida thing? I stuck it out. I loved it. I mean, aside from having issues for the first few months, we didn't have any water for 2 months, didn't have any electricity for 6 weeks. We had looters on day 2, right? But how did I take care of the looters? How did my neighbors take care of the looters? Second Amendment right? God bless Second Amendment. So I believe that in America, self-reliance is what made this country great. But guess what's killing us? The dependency of entitlements. The dependency of entitlements has put this nation on a death spiral. It's out of control. And we don't have the intestinal fortitude in Washington to do anything about it because we're afraid of hurting somebody's feelings. Ladies and gentlemen, the Constitution has the term citizen twice. Once for a citizen is defined within a member of the state, a legal member or citizen of a state, and a citizen of the United States. And there's this thing called the 10th Amendment, which says the state shall have all the powers that's not contemplated in the Constitution for the federal government. Guess what happens when you give the federal government all the powers? They start to increase programs that the states don't want. Now, I am not a career politician. Up till about 8 weeks ago, when I started this race, I was 17 pounds heavier. I forget to eat on this campaign. But I was like you. I had no political aspirations, but I was pissed off. I was pissed off that we had a representative that disgraced Southwest Florida the way he did, let us down. And you know what? I did not have any confidence in the people we've sent up there historically. So if we want to engage in insanity, what do? We continue to do the same thing. But you know what, folks? Bad things happen when good people fail to stand up. When good people fail to take action, we get the government we deserve. So I got off my butt. I got engaged. I decided instead of bellyaching about politics, I'm going to go up and I'm going to try my best as a citizen to do the right thing. Now, I don't have any political action committees funding me. Matter of fact, I had to sell a lot of things just to get as far as I am now. I'm not a rich man, but I tell you what, I'm a motivated man. I do have my own business. I've been in the industry for over 33 years, aerospace and defense. I did serve in this nation's army for 7.5 years. I served in Germany at the time when Czechoslovakia and East Germany were not on our side. So I have a little bit of knowledge about keeping the Soviet Union at bay, or the importance of it, and what the global psychology was back then about people trying to take advantage of the United States. So back then, that was what, the 1980s? 81 to 88 was President Reagan. What was the global psychology back then? We didn't have tyrants trying to run us over. We didn't have the Arab Spring. We didn't have the issues with Libya. We didn't have the issues with Egypt. We didn't have the issues with Syria. We don't have the issues with Ukraine. Why is that happening? Because we've lost all respect globally. When we put a line in the sand, folks, we better mean it, or we shouldn't put it there. Now, we have a military it's about to go down in size so significantly that, you know what, nobody's going to respect us. We have a executive branch that wants us to makes us European. We're not Europeans. I am first generation. My dad was an immigrant. He came from Europe. I am for immigration, but I'm for legal immigration, and I'm for legal immigration at a number that makes sense for our society. We have up to 30 million illegals right now, which is about 10% of our population. We're losing the identity of America. Now, I have a plan. It's called the C4 plan. You all heard of C4, right? It's a plastic explosive. Well, it's the metaphor I'm using because my plan bases on 4 C's. The first C is that everything I do will be guided by the Constitution. Every law we pass must be constitutionally valid. And every law that we have on the books today that violates the Constitution either needs to be repaired to meet the Constitution or repealed completely. The second thing is that we need to have a coalition built up. People that you know that when you go to battle on these issues and our principles, that they've got your left and your right, so that you need to know who you're going to be able to work with up in D.C. Now, there's 2 types of coalitions. There's ones on the principles, and there's one on the issues. Now, I'll talk about that as we get to the questions. The third one is on the committees. I know what committees I need to be on or want to be on, and if I can't get on them, I'm going to make sure I have colleagues in those coalitions that are on them. And the fourth thing is constituency outreach. Making sure that I'm engaging with you all because you all are the ones that put me there, not the third-party PACs. So I'm going to use those 4 C's when you ask questions and how I'm going to respond, because that's really the test. I'm not going to give you any lies. I'm not going to overpromise and not deliver. I'm going to tell you I'm going to be your advocate for what's right and what we can afford and what is American. Michael Dreikorn.